Hello and welcome to The Money Movement. So I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are sat on a glistening white beach next to a palm tree, sipping on a pina colada, knowing that you never have to go back to work in your life. You have decided to fund your own lifestyle and you can do whatever you want, travel the world, achieve what you want to achieve without ever having to go back to work. Sounds pretty sick, right? Well, let me tell you how you're going to do it. It's through pensions. Don't go. I know it sounds boring. I promise you I'll make it more interesting for you. So most people will tell you that pensions, you save up all over your life and you invest the funds and blah, blah, blah. Boring. No one cares about how it used to be. There is a new wave of pensions in and they're so much more interesting than the old ones. So let me tell you why. I'm going to take you through the 3 stages, how you pay in and the benefits, what happens when the money is invested, and what happens when you want to turn on that tap and start taking the income. 3 stages, I'm going to take you through them all. So the first one, why do you want to pay into a pension? Well, let me tell you why. At some point, you're going to want to stop working. I know it feels like years away, it feels like so long, but it will get there and you'll get there quicker than you think. You want to stop working, what do? Well, you need an income because you can't just sit at home all day. And even if you do sit at home all day, if that's what you want to do, nothing against that, you still have to pay bills. Most people want to replace their income when they stop working, but they don't want to work. How do we get there? Well, you save up a pot of money that you can turn on the tap, the income starts and you replace your income and you don't have to go back to work. This is really, really cool. So you're simply saving money into a pot at some point to turn on so that when you stop working, you can have the same income as when you're working and you can travel the world, do whatever you want to do, spend time doing what you love without the stresses and strains of work. How does this work? Well, firstly, you have to pay into a pension. Now, the great thing is you're probably in a workplace pension already through your employer. If you're not, you can ask to join if you're under the age of 22 or earning a low salary, and they have to legally put you in the scheme. You may have opted out of your workplace pension scheme, but you can go back in. They're really, really flexible, and I would highly recommend you go into your pension scheme. Let me tell you why. Now, the first reason is because it's easy. You don't have to worry about it. It's all done for you. And let me tell you what happens. You get paid your salary at the end of the month. They already deduct money and put it into your pension scheme for you. It's already done. You don't have to do anything at all. You simply have to be paid. It's fine. It's easy. It's not bad. It happens automatically. Now, the big thing is that the government want you to save into your pension. So they assume that if you put it into your pension, you haven't taken it as income. And therefore, the tax they would have applied on your income is flipped into your pension plan. That's called tax relief. So you pay in and the government pays in. And that's 20% for most people, and it's a really big leg up. And what that means in monetary terms is for every £100 you put into your pension, it only costs you 80. So if you put £100 into your pension, you only have to pay out of your pay packet £80. It's a really powerful tool. They pay in, you pay in. Who else pays in? Well, it's your employer. They're legally and contractually obliged to do so. They have to pay in at least 3% of your salary. Unlike your contribution where you're giving up pay in exchange to put into your pension, but you get tax relief, this contribution was never around before you were in the pension scheme. You didn't get it as pay, you're not giving up pay, you never would have received this money if you weren't in the pension scheme. Let me say that again, you would have never received this money if you weren't in the pension scheme. It is free money. It is free money because you don't have to do anything for it, and if you're not in the pension scheme, you don't get it. If you're in the pension scheme, you get it. So it's a massive, massive benefit, employer contributions. So they pay into the plan, the government does, as do you. So consider it a deferred pay rise from your employer. Do you want a 3% pay rise? Of course you do. Who wouldn't? Well, do you want it now? You can't have it now. We're going to put it into your pension. That's all that's happening, right? So is a 3% deferred pay rise better in your pension, or would you not prefer it at all? I know which one I prefer. I prefer it put into my pension because I want that money. You pay in, the government put tax relief in, your employer pays in, £100 gets put into your pension a month. What happens with that £100? Well, this is all well away from you. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to care about it. But an investment manager, probably in London, will decide which companies to use your money to buy. And these companies are massive companies. They're all around the world. They're your Facebook, your Amazon, your Googles. They are buying shares in Asda, in Tesco, in River Island, in M&S, in Topshop. Whoever you use on the high street, the chances are you own shares in them. These are the biggest companies in the world. They're the most innovative. They're moving in the right direction. They're attempting to solve problems for you, and me and you use them all the time. So happy days there. We haven't got a problem. They're going to fail en masse. So your money gets invested so that over the long term, it can produce a really, really good amount of growth so that you have a much bigger part at the end than if you just left it in cash. What happens when the market falls? So you turn on the news and the BBC News 10 tells you that the FTSE is down 4% due to some global event. Well, you rub your hands together because next time you pay into your pension, the markets are down, which means you can pick up more shares for a cheaper price. It is just like the world stock markets being on sale. So happy days. When the market's up, you're feeling a little bit richer. When the market's down, you know you're picking up an absolute bargain because at some point it will go from this bottom left up to the top right as your funds grow on your way to retirement. Now, this isn't guaranteed, and you can lose some of your money should the market go up and down, up and down, up and down, but you never really lose your money unless you sell out for less than you brought it for. And the good news for you, if you're younger savers especially, is that you're putting the money in now and you're not going to need it for another 30 years. So you have a 30-year horizon for the markets to perform really, really well. And if you look back at every 30-year period, the markets have always performed fantastically well because it's made of businesses that you and me use, and therefore they're going to keep doing well because the world moves on. We buy different products, we use different services, we have different problems to solve, which these companies do. Now, the other thing to remember is that if you're paying in monthly, you have a phenomenon called pound cost averaging. Now, this is right up there with compound interest on one of my favorite subjects. So every month you put money into your pension and you buy shares in these companies. So if you buy at £1, and let's say you saved £100 and the unit price was £1, how many units do you get? Yes, 100. So, but let's say then the market really, really falls and the next month it's at 50p, but you put in £100, how much do you get? 200 units. So now you've got 300 units when you should really have only had 200 if the price stayed the same. But as long as this goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and over the long term it goes up towards the top right hand corner and grows, you're much better off than if you just had growth in a linear fashion. So you put the money into your plan, it's invested. What happens when you get to this end of the big pot and you decide you want to stop work? Well, you stop work and your pension fund can simply be turned on at the flick of a switch or an online application to provide you with an income. This income is flexible as you like. It's just like you becoming your own boss. You can decide to take out loads of income in the first few years and then calm it down when you're a little bit older. You can decide to take out a level income throughout. You can decide to buy a guaranteed income, keep the funds invested. It's really, really, really flexible, and it's probably a video for another day. But the point is the flexibility. So 25% of all the money you take is tax-free and the rest is subject to income tax at the rate you pay at the time. So for most people, that's going to be 20%, just like when you're working. So what does it mean in practice? Well, let's say that you build up a pension fund of £100,000. 25% of that is tax-free. So you can take out £25,000 completely tax-free. Buy a new car, buy a boat, go on a dream holiday, whatever you want. The rest can be used to fund an income regularly or lump sum, ad hoc when you need it. It doesn't matter. It's super, super flexible. So I hope that's busted some myths on the fact that pensions are boring, because all pensions are is a really, really, really super long-term savings account to mean that when you eventually don't want to work, you can stop working, turn on the income tap, and you can replace your income, go travel the world, go achieve your goals. And you can do that all from the fact that you've saved up a bit of money on the side. All a pension is a deferred savings account, which you pay into, the government pays into, and your employer pays into. That is the powerful side of it. The money's invested, and when you stop working, you can replace your income and live life how you want to live it. So hopefully that's explained pensions to you, and hopefully it's busted some myths and made you think differently about joining a pension scheme or maybe saving more into your pension. The only caveat with pensions is a long-term investment. So you can usually access your money when you're 55, but this is set to rise. No one knows how quick, but it is set to rise. So bear in mind that you might not be able to get your hands on the money for quite a few more years, but if you're saving for that eventual goal of stopping work, this is the best place to do it, because you pay, the government pays, your employer pays, the growth on the way is tax-free, and when you come to take it out, 25% is tax-free, the rest is subject to income tax, and it's flexible as you like. So that is how you achieve the dreams when you really want to stop work and living life on your own terms. Save into a pension, join your workplace pension. And if you've got any questions about workplace pension, just get in contact with your HR team or someone to do with your human resources. They'll be able to help you out, no problem whatsoever. Also, another thing to notice, a lot of people think that when they die, the pension just stops, but it doesn't. Any money that's left in your pension fund can be left to whoever you want. So you can leave it to your partner, to your parents, to your kids, to your grandkids, to the Battersea Dogs Home, whatever you want, you can leave it to whoever you like. You may have noticed I'm wearing a different shirt today. That's because one of our lovely subscribers decided to say that I looked a bit boring in a black hoodie. So this is for you, and I will now not change this shirt until someone else decides that this is boring. So until next time, you take care. And if you've got any value from this video, please do share it with your friends, and hopefully you can chat about it and, you know, bust the myths about money and pensions. And yeah, until next time, you take care. But it was actually a comment by one of our...
Quickly just close the door. Yeah, start again, mate.
Was that on our intro, mate?
I'll just get rid of this bottle, this glass of water.